Yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to the monthly EVerest Technical Steering Committee. EVerest, one stack to charge them all from LF Energy. Have some really nice highlights this month. So yes, we had a nice seasonal break. So not so many highlights than typically, but we got the working group started. Still first users are in OCPP 2.01 certification and getting really, really close now. And Rust got upstreamed and a lot of tiny details left and right. But before we officially start, quickly showing the antitrust policy, so please behave here in the room. So what's new? So Pionix has been on the German pavilion and presenting EVerest there on the CS in Las Vegas beginning this year. Got a lot of feedback, also a lot of feedback from Asia, actually. That was interesting to meet them actually over the States. And yeah, nice to see that traffic. And then we decided to change the format. So from this time on, we try to make it by working group. So every working group can, if present, update their section. So we have it more crisp. So who want to go for the cloud communication?
I think I can take this. So yeah, as Marco already mentioned, the cloud communication working group had its first official meeting yesterday. From now on, we're basically planning on having discussions about OCPP, but maybe in the future about other things as well. The calls will be weekly. There was quite a lot of interest in the group, some good discussions, and we already took some action items with us. So we're going to keep this status sheet updated for the OCPP 201 implementation status. Some updates on some people who are attempting certification at the moment and are basically working through some last minor issues with the core and security profile things. Looks pretty good. Problems are being fixed as we speak, so that was a good result from that group. And additionally, on top of that profile, work has already started on the smart charging use cases, basically by porting existing functionality from 1.6 to 2.0.1 and adapting it to these slight updates that happen in the protocol in between.
So car communication working group, who want to cover for that? Otherwise, Moritz, have you been part of the meetings? Otherwise, I will try my best.
Yes, I actually took part in those meetings. So first of all, ChargeByte, which is my company, we will be at the testival next week. That's Tuesday to Thursday, I believe, in Arnhem. We will be testing the ISO-2 with the EVerest stack. That's including plug and charge and the preliminary implementation of the -20, which is still on a separate branch. Pionix has been testing that on previous testivals, so now it's our turn with our hardware configuration as well. I've heard that CHAdeMO is being implemented already, so that's making some progress, and the first public versions are expected for the next couple of weeks.
Basically, it's just a skeleton, so it's not fully functional. It's just getting a baseline there, so others can help filling all the details. And there's a lot of interest from others doing that, but we just want to make sure it's not blowing the systematic of EVerest.
Right. The communication is significantly different from the ISO communication from the low level to the high level. So it just has to fit into the whole EVerest concept as well and start putting in all the levels in between, obviously. And then we discussed some development issues. This is mainly regarding the Slack component of the EVerest stack. There's some functionality missing, which should or could be in the standard Slack flow of the MME messages, and we at ChargeByte have already noticed that as well. We've seen that in a couple of traces, but these are apparently known shortcomings. So these will probably be worked on in the next, let's say, months, not necessarily weeks. Okay.
Okay, let's go for the next one.
Yeah, cbExiGen, still some small stuff being done. No high priority from ChargeByte, but we've had some internal bug reports which we would try to handle, where we saw that we're restricting in the standard configuration. We're restricting the number of parameters, for example, too much for some communication flows. So our internal customers were having problems with that. We did some investigations on that. And then there were some pull requests, 2 significant ones with some changes. We're investigating those. They do bring some advantages, but both of them are not exactly working like they're supposed to. So we're trying to do a little back and forth there and see if we can merge those pretty soon. That's it.
Thank you. EVerest Framework and Tools Working Group. Who want to cover that one?
I think I can do that because it's mostly organizational stuff. We were a pretty small group. Could be that the time slot was not that good. Probably if I see that there are some things in the background being developed currently regarding the RUST integration, for example, I think that group will be a little bit larger next times. We start to go bi-weekly for that. And yeah, shame on me, I only got it running in an alternating way with 2 different weekdays, Monday afternoons and Wednesday mornings. Could be that we find an easier way later on, but let's start with that. Next session would be February 14th. If anybody needs some exchange earlier, looking perhaps in the direction of Qwello, just let me know. Let's drop me a line and I can arrange anything in the beginning of February, probably. So we defined also some future topics, what we want to discuss in there. Rust integration could be a big thing, and also CMake stuff, conditional dependencies, and yeah, also the whole tool set in the EVerest framework. As examples, EDM and FCLI development. Yeah. Kai, if I missed anything, then
no,
just go on.
You covered everything. Yeah, I guess this is still from the slightly earlier format. Just give some additional updates on EVerest framework, as Marco already mentioned. Not too many things have happened since the last TSC, but there has been some nice performance improvements for the MQTT communication, and then just some small dependency updates, minor bug fixes, and there will be some support for some conditional dependencies if you're doing the EDM build, as well as a plain CMake build as well. So you can just unconfigure some dependencies that you don't necessarily need to have during build and install.
Can you quantify the performance of MQTT improvements?
I have not prepared any numbers, but there were, let's say, noticeable improvements on some targets, but I can come back with a number at a later date.
Thank you. So Holger, Qwello, I guess this is on you.
Yes. So basically, this is a follow-up of the last meeting we had. We didn't do very spectacular things. Last time I reported that we actually forked EVerest Core and EVerest Framework to speed up our own time to merge. And we did a lot of merges. I think we're around 100 merge requests diverged from those 2 masters. And now we started the upstreaming again. So so far, basically, it's mostly bug fixes and build system improvements, basal build systems improvements. And pending for inclusion is still the improvements to ad hoc and the first actually working ad hoc implementation. RFID cards, remote start and stop, where we had to make changes to actually mostly support the German Eichrecht and some of the flows, basically the state machines. And we also we wrote support for an Iskra meter, which right now is not in EVerest, which we also want to upstream. But this depends on the bug fixes to be included first, and also the improvements to the Rust support. And we actually also started certification. So actually this particular setup with EVerest is now in Module B certification for the German Eichrecht. And as soon as we're through with that, we are able to build like this new product running EVerest into in the public streets in Germany.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So CI/CD testing working group and testing working group. Who want to cover that?
I think I can also cover that. We literally just had the kickoff today, an hour before the TSC. Attendance was good. We kind of said that we want to do this weekly now. So next session will be on February 1st, same time as today. It was mostly organizational alignment for how the working group should basically communicate, how we want to work, and we basically just discussed some CI related topics, and yeah, everybody got up to speed, and we have now a rough plan of how this should continue.
Awesome, thanks. So general discussion, Robert.
Yeah, sorry for not being in time for the other one. So yeah, with all the other working groups starting up means there's less to do in what was previously the EVerest weekly texting, now renamed to general discussion and Q&A. The main decision that we took is that any source code, any EVerest module that is not covered by the other working groups will remain part of this working group. So there is still some issues, pull requests that will be part of this working group. We keep the original time slot, so the original weekly Tuesdays will remain in the same time slot as we always had. And this week it wasn't that busy. I guess that a lot of people have their attention more on a specific topic, so they really move to the specific working groups.
Thank you. And last but not least, the January release.
Yeah, I can take this. First of all, we're basically right now in discussions on the new release cadence for EVerest Core. There are suggestions to maybe do release maybe every 2 or every 3 months going forward. But nonetheless, for this month, these are the things that we plan on putting into the January 2024 release. We merged a relatively big error handling change in December, and we did some refactoring relating to how this hooks up to OCPP and the API module. In general, lots of like smaller OCPP and bigger OCPP things went into EVerest Core as well. We basically overhauled the whole connector and EVSE and charging station availability tracking in the last couple of days. We introduced some support for different transaction start points, like preliminary support for this, as well as authorization connection timeouts. There's been some work going on in enhancing the Wi-Fi setup with the setup module, and for the simulation modules, we have 2 new C++ simulation modules, the DC supply simulator and the IMD simulator now as well. And as always, this will be released in the coming days.
Thank you. So what's next? We have not updated anything on the roadmap slides. So we're still working on getting OCP 2.01, we call it core profile advanced security out of the door. 2.1 will happen later. And the CHAdeMO error harmonization, error code harmonization. A lot of work is done. I think the board support package refactoring is not yet in, Kai.
Oh, it's actually been merged. It was already part of the December release, as well as the ChargeX error code harmonization. That's also in
Then
EVerest Core.
good
At the
one. Then we
moment,
have to
there
really
might be
have
some small changes still missing to hook this up to OCPP and stuff like that. But yeah, it's already in.
Awesome. Okay, so good work in progress. ISO 158, also no updates here. RUST, have you seen it on the way? CHAdeMO is on the way. Midterm will work on more stuff. So no big updates here. You can watch the recording from last time on those sections. Upcoming events, we restructured that a bit because I realized there's now so many different parties going on different events around the world. Next event will be on upcoming Monday. The joint office the joint office just did an announcement this week that they're officially joining EVerest and collaborating with this open source project. They got a lot of press coverage, and there will be a webinar on next Monday evening, 5 p.m. German time. Was it, I think, 8 Californian, where everyone can sign up, and joint office, LF Energy and Pionix will present what the project is, how it went, where it is, and what are the future plans. Sharon Testival in Arnhem, ChargePad will be present. Thank you, Moritz, for taking the step. FOSDEM, biggest open source conference, I think globally. Kai, you will be there as far as I know.
Yes, I will be there, and it's on Saturday, the 3rd of February.
And there's
the whole
a
day.
big, and
And
big
I will
energy
also be
dev
there.
room. Oh, awesome, perfect. And there's a big energy dev room, a lot of projects we're presenting, and yeah, EVerest as well. eWorld Essen, I will be there with Robert and others. We have the open source conference, open source and e-mobility at the Pionix site at February. I think we still have some seats available. Please sign up. I think the OCA Plug Fest, the days afterwards, as far as I know, all testing slots are gone by now. Maybe there's one or another free. OCPP 1.6 testing will be, as far as I know, purely virtual, and on-site testing will be only on 2.01. But there will be also a remote testival a week later in the US. We will probably join online. Sharon Asia, EVS 37, still in discussion. Probably there will be some presence. And yeah, end of meeting, please sign up for the conference. Would be nice to meet you on site with a lot of speakers from a lot of different organizations. Looking forward to it. And otherwise, if you won't join the weekly working group meetings, just meet us in the next TSC in a month from now, 22nd of February, or watch this on YouTube. So thank you for the attention, and let's dive into the discussion.